I managed my influencer side hustle around a full-time job for 6 years. And how I managed to balance the two while scaling the content creation side from making nothing to my first 70K has been one of my most asked questions. So in today's video, I want to finally answer how I pulled this balance off. I want to preface this with saying that I am obsessive. When I like something, it consumes my everything. It's all that I want to work on at the expense of pretty much everything else. So usually when I get asked how I manage content creating around my 9 to 5, my answer has been not very well. I would basically go to work, come home, and work on my stuff until I crashed. This worked out to me devoting 5 hours a day on weekdays and about 10 hours on weekends, minimum, to my business, with the average looking a lot more like 7 hours on weekdays and 20 hours on weekends when I really started to take content creating more seriously in 2020. I was working on no other hobbies, I was not watching Netflix, I was not physically active, and I burnt out a lot. But I did eventually get into a groove that ensured that all of those hours I was putting into my business were more efficient and productive, allowing me to feel like I was balancing things a little bit better. So let's get into the 10 things that you can do to make balancing your full-time job and your side hustle a little easier. Number 1. I started saying no. I started saying no to gifted partnerships or opportunities that I feel did not serve me. Our time is limited as it is, and it is especially finite when we are managing our time around a day job. So to avoid burnout and to make sure I was putting my time towards things that were going to push my business forward, I had to start saying no to things that were not compensating me adequately for my time. So if a brand, for example, wanted to send me a hair product in exchange for a blog post or an Instagram reel, I would respond to them saying, hey, thanks so much for thinking of me, but due to the time that it takes for me to create quality content, I'm not able to take on any unpaid partnerships at this time. And then I would segue into asking them if they had a budget. This also meant that I wasn't accepting work that was far below my standard rates. In the end, this did mean that I walked away from a lot of opportunities, but it allowed me to put more effort into the gigs that were paying me well, which was just a better use of my time. The reality is when you are creating content while still having an outside income source, you can be especially picky. You can wait for something better to come along. The second thing I did was seek support. You as an individual can only do so much. And I think this is especially important to remember when you are struggling to keep up with consistency while balancing a day job, a family, other responsibilities. So for myself, I enlisted my husband's help. We really started approaching content creation as our business, and he helped lift a weight off my shoulder by helping me edit my YouTube videos, organizing my finances, as well as being behind the camera and helping me shoot my content. If you're feeling really overwhelmed, consider outsourcing tasks that are a pain point for you. Maybe that's video editing, drafting blog posts, making Instagram carousels, or maybe assisting you with your email inbox and calendar, something that Darren also now helps me with. And you don't even need to seek support from a human. There is so much tech out there that can help increase your efficiencies and workflow. If you need help editing talking head YouTube videos like this, I definitely recommend checking out Gling, a video editor that removes all of your pauses and bad takes. And don't be afraid to Google and explore what other tech and software is out there to help ease the load. Number 3, in an effort to reduce friction and make it easier to shoot content when I had a sliver of time available to me, I kept an ongoing list of content creating ideas in a Notion database. Having all of these ideas readily available meant that I didn't have to waste time planning or scripting anything out before hitting record. I also had a ton of TikTok sounds and trends saved so that I could find them easily when I came back to shoot later. On the same wavelength of reducing friction, I made sure I had an easy setup. In other words, I wanted to make it as easy as possible to get out my gear and start recording. For me, this meant never fully breaking down my lights and tripods. Again, time is so precious and limited. I did not want to waste that time building up all my lights and breaking them down every single time I wanted to shoot something. so I keep them in the corner tucked behind the door. I also settled on a more permanent backdrop to shoot against. This one here. All of this came at the expense of having a fully functional living room, but I did and do what I have to do to run my business. Number 5 was kind of a no-brainer once I had that list and easy setup. I started batching content. This is something I'm still doing today, but basically whenever I had makeup on, I was making sure to get the most out of that look. I was going to shoot as much content as I possibly could, and then just worry about editing it later. So sometimes this meant I would shoot like 20 TikToks back to back, and I would just go and change my outfit so it looked like it was a different day. And other times I would sit down and shoot back-to-back YouTube videos. Number 6, something I'm still working on to this day, but I started to stop being as much of a perfectionist. I had to stop worrying about my grid, overthinking everything, spending way too much time editing my YouTube videos, and just really embracing the idea that done is better than perfect. Number 7. Similarly, I really stopped worrying about how I looked. I started to really get it out of my head that I could only shoot content when I was perfectly made up, when my hair looked good, my makeup was on point, my skin was clear. I started showing up looking a little crazy, sometimes with acne cream on, very often with my hair bonnet on. It was kind of getting to the point where people were messaging saying like, "Oh, I love that you can show up like this. You're so brave." And it really started to feel like a backhanded compliment, but we persevered. But getting over the idea that I always had to look good really just helped me show up more. I started making more TikToks, I started showing up on my stories more, and overall had a positive impact because I was more present and more authentic and vulnerable. Number 8, I started creating my content with multiple platforms in mind from the beginning, making sure that I was capturing photos and videos, horizontal and vertical, so that I could build a presence across multiple platforms out of a single core idea and batching session. I also did a ton of repurposing, so if I made any type of short form video, I would do my best to post it on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, and Pinterest. Number 9 probably sounds contradictory, but I started focusing on fewer platforms. Because when we are trying to balance so many different things, something's gotta give. I am known for doing the most, having several different online presences across pretty much every platform in existence. While working my 9 to 5, it was impossible to be present everywhere, so I had to narrow my scope a bit. I prioritized Instagram, followed by TikTok, then Pinterest, then YouTube, and I found that I had to scale back on my blog and Twitter and Facebook, as well as pulling back on my Comfy Girl Curls YouTube channel. And my last tip is probably niche dependent, but I started multitasking more. I kind of looked at the more mundane, tedious aspects of my life and tried to figure out how I could make content out of it or make the best use out of that time. I started talking to my audience and sharing tips while I was doing my hair, while doing my makeup. The barrier to entry into getting ready with me or getting unready with me content is so low. People just want to hear from you, and they actually like seeing a journey of some sort happen, even if it's unrelated to the topic at hand. Balancing content creating, or any type of side hustle for that matter, around a full-time job is tough. But all of these tips held me down until I was truly ready to quit my day job. And if you've been at this a while and have been considering taking the dive into self-employment, watch this first. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching. Until next time.